This is probably one of the best compliments I can give to a demo. I sat down to play a little bit of a test run of a game called Beyond Sunset, and of course, we put it on one of the harder difficulties. I wasn't brave enough to go for the hardest. During my playtest for this game, I enjoyed it so much that we ended up playing it for an hour and a half, and I was recording because I often record my playtests for B-roll, but I had no voiceover. So we're going into this run with me doing voiceover after the fact, and this is how we started. Yep. Less than 3 seconds into the tutorial, and I already walked off of a ledge. The movement in this game, though, is really, really zippy. This is a cyberpunk, like, samurai boomer-shooter game set in this really cool, like, dystopian cyberpunk world. And of course, starting off with a katana and the ability to deflect bullets pretty much had sold me right away. And this was the point that I think that I went from going, maybe I'm going to play this to, maybe I think I'm going to play this quite a bit. And I meant to do the tutorial here and then immediately just jump off and just start recording a run, but I didn't. And yeah, so we have a sword, we have a gun, we have a little special move on my F. The special move is in the bottom left corner. You'll see a little star with a yellow icon next to it that charges up. We have secrets. There's a map. The map is terribly unhelpful, but also shows you everything nearby. So like it's kind of like Myth's Blessing. And the tutorial is over in probably 10-15 minutes. Without knowing too much about what's going on, you wake up in a strange lab. With some very, very spooky music going on. And the first person you talk to says you don't belong. There's some armor around, but our HUD's gone, so we're clearly still in, like, tutorial mode. I will admit, I cut out a lot of it, but I actually ended up getting lost in the starting area for several minutes here, trying to figure out what exactly they wanted me to do. And no, the footage is not sped up, by the way. It is actually just that fast. We got our katana. You know, guns are nice and all, but I probably wasn't going to be using the guns unless necessary. And we'll see how long that lasts. Just like Doom, whenever you kill an enemy, stuff comes out of them. If we kill an enemy with our special, though, they turn into a shower of gore, bullets, and health. And it becomes this balance of trying to stay really, really aggressive while taking care of all of the enemies. This room? Yeah. Just like one room into the game, and the game's just like, here, try this. Get good, scrub. But we never give up. That little skull you see appearing over top of people's heads, that means that my special attack, the one that gives me a whole bunch of HP and ammo, is in fact ready. We tried to dash up to that ledge, but it's not possible. There is a double jump, a dash, and a sort of like a crouch dash as well, like a slide. The slide locks you out of the double jump, though, so it's something you have to be careful of. The game feels so good. It's so quick and so responsive. If I have only one complaint about this, and you'll hear it over the course of this video, is that these gunner guys, that right there, yep, that sound that they make whenever they die, oh man, it's so loud, so jarring. The bullet deflection feels so good, though, and It's just like, I just want to do it all the time. It appears that this game is definitely, like, as per any Doom-like boomer shooter, it is just filled with secrets. But the extra benefit in this game is that the secrets in this game, that little thing in the center there, it's actually our currency to level up. So the more secrets we find, the stronger we get. But it's not stronger in the sense of, like, extra damage. You'll see here in a little bit. I was very convinced that there was a good chance that the secret was down, so we just jumped into the abyss. It's not going to be the first time, it's not going to be the last time. But in fact, there's actually just these little nooks in the walls, and you can just very barely get to each one of them. And then you have to make a leap of faith, and upgrade tokens to purchase upgrades of vending machines. We did see a vending machine earlier, and we'll get back to that a little bit later. So, I mean, look at that shower of stuff. It's freaking amazing. I will admit, I picked up this floppy disk here, and I don't think I ever read the text at the bottom of the screen, because I'm pretty sure I never checked this floppy disk once in the entire run. Sorry. And finally, we get our gun back. I use it literally once and then go, nah. It's an honorable mention, yeah. I tried a few times. At this point, though, definitely preferring the sword. The sword feels so good. Like, honestly, if it weren't for some enemies that come later, I would probably have just played this entire game with a sword. The game knows that, though. I think they really do know that. As a person who doesn't really play a lot of boomer shooters, I don't actually know what the purpose of the armor is, by the way. We picked up a whole bunch here, and it doesn't seem to help me. We got this. Just have to be able to take your time. You can't rush enemies. Well, I mean, you can, but like you can't rush the rooms. You gotta pay attention. You gotta plan, and you gotta think really freaking fast. I love that I just said that you can't rush enemies, and clearly you can rush enemies. You just have to do it with skill and purpose. You gotta get good. Fortunately, whenever you parry, there's a bit of auto aim, and we get our compact SMG here. And the game tells me that I can dual wield it, but they didn't give me a dual wield option yet. But charge shots from your pistol knock across the shield. Instead, we're just going to sit here and attempt to deflect bullets until, yep, that happens. This time, we read. The power of reading is unparalleled in video gaming. That was a pretty sweet block, though. Literally deflected the entire shotgun shot. As editor me says, reading's for nerds. Just rush them. Weirdly enough, this little cover here is just like making these guys immune to my sword for some reason. So I do actually, with scorn, fall back on the pistol. Yeah. New strategy. Just all sword. Pistols didn't be killed, clearly and obviously. It's not the sword. There is a bit of a timing element, if you're noticing, to the block. You have to time it properly, and then there's a bit of a cooldown. So it is very Sekiro-esque of that. You can't just like hold block or spam it. If you spam it, you're going to miss most of the bullets. It's a pretty tight window, but it feels very good. And here's one of the vending machines. We ended up taking some HP. My logic here was that I didn't seem to be getting a lot of armor, and I didn't know what it did. So we took a little bit of armor, a little bit of HP, just in case I was wrong. And then from now on, we're probably just going to be taking HP upgrades. This little office area seems to be some sort of like hub. Yeah, that man just rushed me down. I didn't even know what to do about it. We try and fight them in melee, but like melee fighting these big stompy guys, like I can tell even in the recordings that like it's possible to block them, but it's not possible to parry them, and they definitely don't seem to be caring. So round 2, SMG to the face, just run away like a coward. These are the enemies I was talking about. They're the reason why I can't use a sword this entire game. And that was a cool shot. We meet our first friend. Oh, I guess I did actually end up reading that data terminal. If you want to read the lore, you can pause there and go back and read it. Found a ringing phone and a guy who is officially telling us what our job is. Basically, there is going to be an ice mainframe, and once we get rid of the ice mainframe, we can get into the VR headsets in order to do a thing. And he wants us to retrieve something called the hash file. The map on this game is actually, it's very Metroidvania Soulsy in the fact that like it loops around on itself over and over again in a really, really cool way, where even as you're making progress, you'll recognize areas and you'll have doors open from previous areas. So you never really get too far away from this central hub of offices and hallways. And it's honestly just very, very cool. I'm a huge fan of the cyberpunk aesthetic and the sci-fi, and parrying and swords. And this game kind of hit me really hard in the feels of just like making me feel amazing. Plus, I love movement, and, you know, normally boomer shooters, the only reason I don't get into them is because it's all about the guns. And as you'll see, I'm not exactly a great shot. I'm not good at FPSs. But if you give me a sword in a boomer shooter, ooh, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Every time I play Payday or Dark Tide or anything like this, any of these first-person shooters, I tend to just pull out a melee weapon and just rush the dudes. So that's pretty much my only and primary strategy for the entirety of this game. So if you don't want to see someone going around chopping a guy in half of swords in a cyberpunk dystopian future, I don't know who you are. Oh, but look at that one, though. Literally got 2 in one swipe. And we finally got dual Uzis. Yeah. I try to remember to use these, but I do still default to the sword. I do admit that the dual Uzis feel really good. The guns feel so good that even as a non-gun enjoyer, I was trying to pull some John Woo stuff there and jump off a thing backwards while doves were flying or something. But even as a non-gun enjoyer, the guns feel so freaking good that like I do end up using them quite often. Same thoughts as last time. We're not really getting armor. If you notice, our armor's almost always gone. So we're just getting HP because we can use that little sword execute thing to get HP back. So the more HP we have, probably the better. These guys, now with flamethrowers, suck. And we go into Xanadu, which we did find out that we have gone here a little bit early. We were supposed to take out the ice mainframe, but we at least got a chance to see what this place is sort of like. You can transform completely and have like a little hand blaster thingy, and the ice that we have to get rid of, yeah, it's actually ice. It's a bit of like a weird cyber joke, I guess. It might seem like I didn't really look around, but that was actually the entire place. I ran around it in circles for a little while, unable to figure out what I was supposed to do, and then just figured that I probably missed something, which I did. Holes in walls with people in them shooting at me. Classic boomer shooter. Pretty much something you only ever see in boomer shooters. Fancy done. I want it. Ooh, big boy. It looks like, almost looks like a grenade launcher of some sort. I do find out very quickly that you can actually, instead of using the charge gun and reading like a nerd, you can use the special attack, the insta-kill, in order to get rid of those guys' shields too. So the charge gun is for emergencies now. At the time, I will admit, I had no idea where that shotgun came from. I was so focused on killing the enemies. But now that we have the shotgun, we actually have an answer for these big robot jackasses. It takes care of them so well, as long as they're not hiding behind a painted glass. One of the things that I liked is that this game does a really good job of putting the enemies, like, it is respawn, right? It's respawning the enemies. Yeah. Flamethrowers from behind. This time I actually figured out where the shotgun was. But yeah, the game figured out a way of putting the enemies in such a way that it kind of guides you where to go next. Even though it's respawning the enemies in the path you need to go, which I really appreciate. But we did end up missing that there was these giant coolant tanks back here, back where we got the shotgun. Fortunately, this time we come back for them. All of my experience working in a lab, I recognized that those were the symbols for explosive and some other symbols, which I didn't actually remember off the top of my head. So I was trying to avoid hitting it for now. My brain hadn't quite worked out yet what I was supposed to be doing with those. I think I was just having so much fun slashing at things. And then at this point, right there, I saw that I could hurt it. And I'm like, oh yeah, sure, I'll hit it. So now we need to go back for the other one. That is your 7 a.m. wake-up alarm. And here's me dying to explosives. Yeah. Let's try that again. This time from a distance. And damn, what a cool effect. Whenever you freeze them, they just shatter into glass. Oh. There's something just, in this graphical style, there's just something just so incredibly satisfying about that. Yeah, if someone could tell me in the comments, and like, it's some sort of boomer shooter fan could tell me in the comments, what does armor do? Like, in these games normally? I assume it does the same thing that it does in other games of this genre, but I haven't really played any games in this genre, so... I tried to cut out as much of that beeping alarm as possible, but on my side, it was probably a good 40 minutes of me listening to that while I was looking for where I was supposed to be going. This game shares a lot of similarities with, like, Dusk and such, and, like, This Is My House.wave, where you don't really know where you're going, and then you kind of accidentally stumble into going the right way quite often. I think that's a cornerstone of good design. Ever since I got the shotgun and realized that it can push these guys back, it is my singular answer for Big Mecha. Forgot about you. no idea where we're going. We hear the alarms, and at this point, I'm convinced that I've gotten rid of all of the coolant for this thing, because I did double check that room off camera, make sure that we got all of the tanks destroyed. So I just go, okay, well, I don't know what I'm doing, so I guess I'm going to go exploring again. I hear people shooting at me. Must be going the right way. That was a pretty cool one. This is like a million guns. This is a million guns. And for a while, we try to sword versus gun. But this is obviously a room where you're supposed to just pull out the shotgun. I'm honestly surprised they didn't charge in like an idiot here. Probably got tired of dying. This difficulty is definitely pretty hard. It did warn me that I have to be familiar with the mechanics, but it's not so hard that I felt unfair. Every time I died, I felt like it was mostly my fault. Except for that first one. That first one was just like, hey, here's a room full of enemies. Screw you. That little ding you'll hear is actually an indication that my special's back up. Starting to get really good at that parry. Who needs charge pistols? I find that if you wait until the bullet's in the air, you're a little bit more successful with the parry. This first time that I flipped this lever, I honestly didn't notice that the doors had closed on me. I was so confused on what I was supposed to be doing here. Like, maybe I have to kill their drugs? Like, what's the goal? Never even saw that I was in an ambush until it was too late. Then I trapped myself in a corner with two of these guys. Yeah, it was over before it started. This time, though, I noticed what was going on. I was ready for a fight. Probably should have been ready for a fight from the get-go, because everybody in this game summons a fight. Should have known this by now. And if you lead these guys in a circle instead of getting trapped in a corner, suddenly they become way more manageable. And I believe this is also the first time I have remembered since the beginning of the game that just because I have my gun out doesn't mean I have to stop dashing around. I believe this is also when I discovered, yep, that we can use our special sword little execute thing while our gun's out. We don't even have to take the time to switch. Another friend? Maybe from Wally? He basically explains to me the thing that I already knew, but without telling me any new information that would have actually helped me, by telling me, oh, well, yeah, you have to just get rid of the mainframe. It's like, yeah, or the toolkit to overheat the mainframe. I'm like, yeah, I thought I had already done that at this point, so I'm just like, okay, well, maybe I went the wrong way. So we just keep going. This right here is actually one of my favorite encounters. A bunch of guys going, popping up through windows, and for the first time in the entire game, they busted out the windows and all started shooting at me, and it actually made me jump. Because I saw them there, but I didn't see that they could bust the windows. And money shot. Yeah! I think that's honestly the best special slice I got in the entire game. I can't even explain to you my disappointment that that shotgun shot didn't go back into that guy's face. I was so ready for it. The door's open, so obviously we go, right? Nope. I think that one's there just to kill you. Apparently, there's a secondary switch. I also can't describe to you my disappointment that I can't close the door on all of those enemies there and get them to all die in the, or sorry, to reactivate the ice and kill all those enemies. That would have been a cool move. That was a missed opportunity there. One of the other things that this game does very well is changes up the biomes between different parts of this place well enough that, like, I never felt lost. I mean, I did feel lost as where to go next, but the enemies were guiding me there. I never felt like I didn't know where I was. Each area has a very distinct look and feel. I mean, like, this is the gardens. There's that central big room. There's the office chambers where the music actually changes back to that creepy office music every time, too. This jerk right here was gatekeeping me. Don't be a gatekeeper. You get shotguns to the face if you're a gatekeeper in video games. I don't even know how I reflected that one. It didn't look like I reflected it. But of course, there's pillars, so we have to climb them. I don't actually know if this is the way that I was supposed to be going. I was just way too more interested in climbing the pillars than in whatever the game was offering me. It is possible, though, that this was actually the correct way to go. I never found out. Got some Sonic-style trails here. And this guy, yeah, falling over and firing at the same time. Such a cool little extra detail. Well, there's that sunset. And now we're going beyond? Roll title? Yeah. Nope, gotta time it. There you go. I believe in you. We have finally found the other cryo tanks. And more 7 a.m. alarm clock. I don't know what I was trying to do there. Hug him? Apologize? Not sure. It'll be over soon. Promise. Just let me go back to sleep. Thank goodness. After some looking around, we finally find a door, and we loop back around to an area that we recognize. And like I said, like you can tell areas that you've been to before. It's fantastic. Mainframe's on fire now, and we have a VR headset to plug into. But this was about 2 hours of me playing this game at this point, and I realized, maybe I should sit down and make this for YouTube. So we get a quick glance at what the digital world looks like. Not this. This was the other one. This was the red tape. Also, possibly a reference to the Tomb of Terror from D&D. Not sure on that one. But at least it's a secret. VR games are weird. Warranty expired. Typo in quarterly report. It does appear that I didn't notice this until editing, that you can collect those hearts to use in other VR spaces as extra HP. Basically, you can continue to overheal. Now this is Xanadu. This is where I ended, and it's just a bit of a sneak peek at the game. It's currently a demo. You can go ahead and grab it on Steam. There is going to be a link in the description below, and hope you guys have enjoyed. If you guys have, feel free to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Have a good day. Goodbye.